Welcome to Black Girl in CLE, the podcast. I am your host, Shayna Black, and in each episode, my special guest and I will talk about local events, the topic of access in Cleveland, and sometimes we'll just talk about some cool people who are doing cool things in the greater Cleveland area. I'll introduce you to this week's guest right after this. Welcome to this episode, everyone. Today, my guest is Robyn Hill, returning guest, Robyn Hill, author, mental health therapist, doctoral candidate, and you're currently working as an agency administrator. You're returning to the show, and I'd like to say welcome back.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited about our conversation today.
So let me just start. I just recently came across like my calendar or something. Is May Mental Health Month? Did I read that right?
I believe so. I believe it
Awareness.
is Mental Health Awareness Month, yes.
I know this isn't the main topic, but what is, like, why is the need of that? I mean, have we stopped the stigma, or is there still like a lot of work to do?
I think there's still a lot of work to do. I think we've got a lot done. I do believe that we have addressed and brought a lot of awareness out, but I do believe there still is that fear of opening up and then there's still a lot to learn. I think COVID has brought a whole new level of mental health stuff that we have to still address. I just was recently reading about loneliness. And I mean, this is information that's been out forever, but we don't even talk about it being the leading cause of death, early death is loneliness and isolation. So as people are losing their minds, it's a real thing right now as we experience this pandemic. So, and as we move our discussion into relationships and these holidays, the pain is real when you're losing relationships and dealing with your mental health. So, this is a real thing. The stigma, the issues that we experience, it's not so. I mean, it's very clinical, but it's very real. The pain that we experience is very real, very organic, very natural, and it is something that needs to be talked about.
Is loneliness like a diagnosis, or how is that categorized?
It's not a diagnosis, no, but it can trigger a diagnosis. Isolation and loneliness are symptoms. Um, it's definitely like if I'm dealing with depression, if I'm diagnosing depression, one of the things I'm going to look for is isolation and withdrawal. Um, it can cause someone to even withdraw more. But from what I was talking about a second ago, it can cause you to get sick, to be withdrawn from people. We are built for community, we are built for relationship. And so not having it can cause all kinds of illness in itself. It can cause psychosocial delays and lack of development in children and teens and even adults. Our personalities are developed out of relationship. So lacking that socialization and having isolation and loneliness can cause so many maladies in itself. So that in itself is not an illness, but it can cause many illnesses.
Is there one group or age group that suffers more or has worse effects when they're dealing with loneliness?
I think probably, and not don't quote me on it, but I do believe because I just, like I said, I'm a doctoral candidate. You're reading like gajillion chapters in a night, but I think I saw definitely infants.
Oh, wow.
They don't have that initial bond. If they don't get that initial bond, that's what comic book villains are made out of.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, then it's like, that's kind of awful. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and thank you for indulging me on that, because we talk about loneliness, and I think it's one of those words where people use it kind of like they say I'm depressed, but they're not depressed. Oh, I'm just so depressed. Right? It's like a throwaway term, for lack of a better word. And I think, to the layperson, I don't know if I would know what to look for. Somebody's like, I'm just kind of feeling lonely. Like, I would give that bad advice that we tell people that are, when they're depressed, like, well, just, oh, you're just feeling down.
Yeah.
And it's, the thing you're not supposed to do. What's some advice for that? If someone says, I think I'm just really feeling lonely, I think culturally you want to tell them it's okay. Like, it's all that, we all go through that. But what's the thing to say there?
And that's okay, because a lot of times we do want to normalize. That is a natural response. A natural human response is to normalize that. We want to say, what you're suffering from, I suffer from too. And everything comes in varying degrees. Even depression has its varying degrees, and loneliness, everything has its degrees. But if someone is saying, I think I need some help, you can say, we all deal with that. But if you feel yours is, then maybe you do need to reach out to someone and get some help. Maybe they need counseling, or maybe they just need to find a support group. There are plenty of support groups out there. Maybe they need connection to resources. If you know of a group that they might get involved in, or get in some volunteer activities or something. Because sometimes people may say, I don't think I need counseling, but I need something.
Right.
Get involved, get connected within your community.
For the parents listening, what's the like would the kids say, "Mommy, I'm lonely," or what's something a parent should look for? Because I know, especially with school age kids, especially if they don't have siblings,
Yeah,
what are
especially
they saying, or what's
doing a
that?
whole year of virtual school. Yeah, I highly recommend mentoring programs, definitely for kids.
Okay.
Parents need all the assistance that they need anyway. We've lost our sense of community that we used to have. We used to send your kids outside, and then all the kids on the street used to play together, and all the parents used to look out for all the kids, and we don't have that anymore.
Right.
So get them into a mentoring program. There's all kinds of STEM programs, and Tri-C and the museums got all kinds of stuff. You can get your kids involved in things where they can meet other kids and find their little thing, because not all kids are into the same thing. So parents are always trying to sign all the little boys up for Pop Warner football. Every boy is not going to play football. Some boys might want to get into some martial arts. Some boys might want to get into some yoga.
Or chess or something. Yeah.
Right. And oh, there's some good chess programs. Some of the little girls might want to do STEM programs. They might want to do some martial arts. You got to find what's good for your kid, not try to streamline them right into what you think every kid wants to do.
Like that's a whole like we got to come back and talk
But yeah,
about
that's a
that.
whole show probably in
It
itself.
is,
Right.
because I just think about how I chose activities for my kids. I didn't know if you really wanted to do it, but like some parent
Hmm.
was like, "Oh, your kid's got to do that." But I'll
Yeah.
digress. You'll come back for that one.
Okay.
So we kind of talked about it. We touched on grief. We touched on loneliness and how that can kind of cause an onset of depression and some other mental health concerns. What are like we're talking? I'm thinking about grief, and I know for myself, when my mom passed, I could not do Mother's Day. I hated Mother's Day, and I had little kids, which made it even worse because my kids wanted to celebrate me, and
Hmm.
I didn't want to celebrate. But what, like, I'm assuming that there's some kind of health impact if you just don't come out of that, or
Yeah.
what does that look like?
So there's different types of grief.
Mm-hmm.
So let me get my little cheat sheet out here. So there's acute grief, which everyone goes through the normal acute grief. That's the moment of grief, and you lose, you're in that place of loss. Everyone experiences, your normal stages of grief. And then there's the complicated grief, which is what you were going through, where you kind of couldn't come out of it. And it stayed around for a little bit longer than you had thought it would have. And it had a little bit stronger sting because it just hurt really bad. It didn't seem like it was going to go away, and it lasted maybe for years. And that one seemed a little more clinical. You probably need to talk to somebody to kind of come out of it. And that one is more, that's tough. That's tough. And it's just what happens, because for whatever reason, sometimes we just don't want to let go. And I think we get stuck because if we feel like, I think C.S. Lewis talks about it a lot in his book Grief Observed, where we have this fear, if we do let go of the grief, we feel like we've let go of the person.
Mm.
But when we really do work through the grief and we realize that the memories don't actually go away, we can actually move forward in our grief process. Then we get to this place of integrated grief. Integrated grief is, it never really goes away. You're never going to stop missing your mother. Acute grief may come back. You have those moments where you just smell a rose that just reminds you of that time. And all of a sudden the pain comes back and the crying comes back. But it's not like it's like that all the time. It's just random. One day you have a waffle and it's like, oh my gosh, remember that time when I went for waffles and you're crying. And then it goes away. That's that integrated grief. But you're always going to miss them. That and so that misnomer, we think that you go through grief and you get over it and you move like your life moves forward. That's a misnomer. You're going to always miss the person who carried you and brought you into this world. I don't think you can ever get over that. But I don't want to, and maybe I'm jumping ahead because you're probably going to get to this question. There are some people who have a painful loss because the relationship wasn't a strong bond. So their grief is a little more painful because they didn't have the beautiful memories. They didn't have the loving relationship. And so now their grief and their pain is filled with a lot of hurt.
Is that the
A lot
same of
of,
the three structures of grief that you talked about? It's just
mhm,
with the
yeah.
added hurt, or is it something different?
Yeah, it's the same thing, but it's the relationship that never was. We never got to have them waffles. We never got to have, and so there's that anger that stays around, that comes back up of what we never got to have, and so there's a lot of pain there. They don't get to have the fond memories. They get to have a lot of missed memories.
So as you talked about the different stages, I know that I've heard that a lot of times when people are grieving, they've had people say like they should be past their grieving, or how do you
Hmm.
know when your grief has gone into the complicated stage from acute, or how do you know, like, is there a time, like if you're still being bothered, obviously 4 years from
Hmm.
now, people grieve differently. We say things like that, which
Yeah.
I think empowers people to keep grieving.
Yeah, I think from a clinical perspective, we start to look at like if it's gone. I think the diagnostic manual probably says 6 months to probably a year. I think we expect you to not be in a place of like devastation about 6 months to a year out, and then we look for other symptoms too. I remember I had this one lady. I think it'd been years, probably about 2 years. Her husband had passed, and I mean, she just affect flat. She just she just shut down emotionally from the world. Her husband wasn't the greatest person in the world, but she never got to tell anybody.
Mm,
So it wasn't until it was like me working with her for a good while when I finally pulled out the story of him just kind of being a drunk a-hole. Once she
wow.
got that story out, it's like she snapped back to this world. Like I finally let her tell that story that he wasn't the greatest man on earth.
So
And
was that like, so what I'm hearing you say is like that was kind of holding back
it was.
closure of the grief
Mhm.
cycle.
For her it was. For her it was. She was stuck in this. I'm this grieving widow.
Don't speak ill of the
Won't speak
dead.
ill of him, and just and but I don't think any. She just needed to express some anger towards him. And once I let her do that, and also giving her the freedom to move forward and the freedom to do things that he would never let her do, like go out and go volunteer somewhere, go do something. And once she started doing that and realizing that you can do these things now, he's not here anymore,
Okay.
and it's okay. And so she started to live a little, and it just like she came alive. It wasn't that she and giving him the freedom to say you don't have to hate him either, just
Right.
because he was mean. You don't have to hate him. He had a mean streak, but he also took care of his family. He was good with the kids. You don't have to hate him.
And just to, I guess sounds like to deal with the complicated emotions, like
Yeah.
to
Hmm.
be okay with all the things.
Exactly.
So tell me this: is there, like, what are some? Is there a health impact by not dealing with the grief? Like, could it give you a heart attack? Could it? Is there some
Hmm.
kind of thing that by
Definitely.
being left unchecked, you're actually going to physically see
Definitely. There's
manifestations of
something
that?
called the broken heart syndrome. I had a client, she had lost a baby, and her heart weakened from the grief of that loss. So you can definitely get sick. Stress alone can make you sick. Autoimmune disorders are developed from stress of unexpressed emotions. Our mind, body, and souls are all connected. And so when we don't deal with our emotions, it will come out physically and it will come out spiritually. When one is out of whack, the other two will automatically go out of whack. So if we're not dealing with our emotions, our spirits will show it, and our body will show it. If our spirits aren't dealing with something, our minds will show it, our bodies will show it. If we physically aren't dealing with something, our minds will show it and our spirits will show it. They're all connected like a baby mobile. So you will have to deal with whatever's going on with you emotionally. So if you are not dealing with your grief, it's going to show. You ever see someone that just look like they're worn down physically? And what have they been? And they might just gotten up that morning. Why do you look worn down already? And it's just morning. It's usually something on their mind. So you definitely need to address what's going on with you mentally.
So where's the first? I have two questions.
Hmm.
Where's the first place you go? So in that case of the person that's like they're feeling worn down, I don't know if they know that they're grieving. Like I'm still grieving my brother that died,
Hmm.
or do they go to their primary physician and just say I'm feeling worn down? Like, what's that person's first step?
Usually, sometimes we aren't even aware, but that's the beautiful thing. I think nowadays with healthcare is getting more holistic. A lot of these doctors are doing the wellness checks for you. So they're asking the questions and then they're making the referrals. So your physician might already ask you, so how are you feeling? Do you think that how are you stressed? They're doing these wellness checks, checking your mental, and then making a referral. I just went to the doctor the other day and they asked me certain questions and well, you think that you're stressed, you think you're depressed, and I was just laughing because I already knew that by the way they're asking, I could tell they were checking my mental without saying they were checking my mental, and I just smiled and I was like, no, I'm good. you know, they were going to, well, we can refer you to someone,
Right, right.
I'm good, I'm good. So that's the good thing. Even if you go to your doctor, sometimes if they're really in tune, they'll make that referral. But if they don't, and you know that you're mentally worn down, you can Google a therapist. It's very easy nowadays to find mental health help. You can just Google therapist, put your zip code in, and there's directories all over where you can find someone.
Okay. My other question, and we're going to circle back to the point you just said, though. You mentioned broken heart syndrome. Is
Hmm.
that a physical thing? Like I've heard it.
Hmm.
I believe I've seen it.
Hmm.
When my grandfather died, like my grandma kind of fell out like at that moment, but they had been
Yeah.
together 30, 40 years. And
Hmm.
people were like, because of that loss in that moment.
Yeah.
But, that broken heart syndrome, does it,
Yeah.
the weakened
That's a real
heart is an
physical.
actual, like, you're going to have heart
Yeah.
problems now?
The heart becomes a weaker vessel in that moment. It becomes a heart condition where they have to be very careful. The heart's not pumping strongly anymore. It's literally a physical condition, not. And I forget the actual
Right.
physical term of the disease, but it becomes like a heart disease.
Is that like a permanent, or does your heart get stronger again?
I I read up a little bit on it at the time that I had the client. I can't remember. I think it can resolve itself. I just can't remember
Okay. I just
exactly.
didn't know. Like, I've always
Yeah.
heard it, kind of, I would say like the old folks say, oh, they heartbroken
Yeah.
because so and so's gone,
Yeah.
and I
Right.
just,
It's not the same as like heartache. Like when somebody broke your heart, it ain't the same as that pain, when you're just sitting there crying all day long. It's not the same. Like literally a condition happens to the heart and, they got to monitor you and you got to be careful with, yes, this client definitely developed a weaker heart because,
wow. So, I want to talk about Mother's Day, Father's Day, Memorial Day coming up because there are a lot of people that lost a lot of loved ones over this year. And so
yeah.
for some, this is their first or second. Or they might be in that 6 month span that we just talked about, or on that border of acute going into. And,
Hmm.
I just, number one, I just wanted to basically be a help for those folks to say, like, I know it's hard. I know, like, I see you,
Yeah.
to affirm that. But what's the advice for that? Because a lot of people, again, being, what's the word, good intentioned,
Hmm.
might give some bad advice. So I wanted to talk to
Right.
you because what is that? Like, what should they be doing? Should they just disconnect from everything? Don't answer the door, don't answer the phone,
Yeah.
or should they push themselves to be in spaces that they might not want to be in? Or like, what's the answer?
It's tough. I just had two friends from school that I went to like junior high and high school lost their moms in the last week. It's crazy. I'm. This is just a crazy conversation to even have, but just watching their pain this week. Accept the help that can come because this is hard, and A lot of times we try to do a lot in our own strength, but rest because this is an emotional toll, and you don't even realize how exhausted you are right now. If somebody wants to bring you a bucket of chicken, let them bring you a bucket of chicken, because there's going to be people at your door bothering you all day long. The last thing you need to be worried about is hospitality. So if you have food at the house, or if somebody's there wanting to vacuum your rugs or whatever, if people, let people come help you and put them out when you need to put them out. I'm gonna put it that way, because people will overstay their welcome as well and will drain you, because grief is exhausting. So if you need to put people out, put people out. Get you some strong sergeant of arms that if they can put people out for you if that's what you need to do. But usually after the funeral's over, a lot of people disappear.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's some people that want to just sit with you, bring you a fruit basket, accept that, because their intentions is to be there, and it's kind of hard because silence is loud.
Mm-hmm.
Silence is loud. So
Yeah.
um, another piece of advice is take a break from the grief. I always tell people this: grief will be there when you get back.
So what does that mean? Like, what does that look like?
So get up and go to the movies. You don't have to sit there and cry all day. You don't owe grief anything. So, getting up and going and doing something normal is not disrespectful to the life that you just lost. I've had people like, widows who felt like, felt some sort of guilt, like getting up and going shopping or something, just going out and, no, get up and do something normal. Grief will be here when you get back. When you
Okay.
come back to the house and it's quiet, it will be here. So get up and go and enjoy a good movie.
Yeah, I
Go do
found
something.
I was talking to my own personal therapist, and we had a conversation, and she was saying it's just go push yourself to do, even if you don't want to watch the movie.
Hmm.
Just she said, just by sitting in a movie,
Yeah.
it just by getting out and getting in that car and
Hmm.
driving that place, you're
Yeah.
already kind of beating grief or
Hmm.
any other issues at that point because you're not sitting in it,
Yeah.
so to
That's what I
speak.
call it, taking a break from it. Because,
I like that.
some people feel like they really do. People don't realize they feel a guilt, like they feel like they owe grief something, like they have to sit in it or something. And just, no, it will be there. I promise you, you're not going to forget your mother. You're not going to forget your uncle or cousin or who. You won't forget. The pain is now, it's not, it will be there. Take a break.
So if we can switch gears, because what you just said made me think about, especially for women who do the I don't know who I am without that person. And it might not even be someone that's passed away. It might be,
Hmm.
I hear that a lot of with moms that have like older kids, or the kids are
Hmm.
like juniors in high school,
Yeah.
seniors, like they're getting ready to leave. And it's that fear of I don't know what I like.
Yeah.
And so I would imagine that for folks that lost a parent or a spouse or even a child, I've been in this role for so long. I
Hmm.
don't know what I like. Like, how do they get started? Because they're
It's difficult. And I have wanted to do, this is what I really would love to do, is start group therapies for this reason. But it's so difficult, especially in our communities, to get group therapies going. But this is the reason why, because we need um, therapeutic social environments to kind of get that started, safe spaces to practice out socialization so that we can be ready to go out and try new places. Um, but the more we can create things, go try a sip and sew or sip and whatever paint. Go try these things. You have to just try some new things. Join an auxiliary, join a community organization, join a board, do those things. One of the ways I've met most of the people I know in Cleveland is I joined an organization, or two or three. Find one that dues are not ridiculously high.
right.
I mean, if you got the money to spend it on high dues, do that. But um, that's how I met people, and I got involved. And I'm an extreme introvert, but I did push myself, and that's how I met people. And I developed my identity outside of my kids and my job.
And I'll say, I think, just to do the plug of Black Girl in Cleveland and all that, that's
Mhm.
kind of that space we exist in. Like, that's why we do the events, because
Mhm.
I was someone that, beside my mom being gone a few years, I realized that my kids were starting to not be the little tykes where we got
Mhm.
soccer and swimming and, like, let's get a kids meal. Like, they were starting to develop their own
Mhm.
friends and activities. And, especially when you get to that middle school age, they don't want to hang out with
Right.
you anymore. Like, I'm still
I can't
cool,
even get
but
my
they
stuff
just
in
didn't
the
think
car with
so.
me.
So it was that, like, in a few years, they're gone
Mhm.
altogether. And
Yeah.
now what? And, had I not started working on that process early, um, yeah, like, number one, there wouldn't be a Black Girl in Cleveland, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't know you. So
Right.
I can pinpoint, like, from a certain year,
Mhm.
everyone I know now, I had to meet after that change of, I've got to start
Right.
meeting people. There's more to life than just going to work, coming home, feeding the
Mhm.
kids, putting the kids to bed, and then doing it all over again.
Right.
I call it the 4 block radius life.
Right. Right.
And,
Right.
and so that's
And
kind of why we do these events. Like, we do the book clubs and stuff, just to get women together, not necessarily to bring a man out and be like, girl, you gotta
yeah,
find, but like, let's just
something to
try a
do.
book club. Yeah, come out and talk.
Mm-hmm. I thought
So
I keep coming up with things, but the introvert's like, oh, not right now. But I have some ideas of stuff that I want to
come hang
do.
out with us.
Right, just some reason to hang out, some reason to just, I've some brunches that I want to do. Just come eat, and I'm like, but the introvert's like, I need an extrovert to help me get the conversation going. But
Right. And I'm an extreme introvert. People don't know that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I'll just say, like, oh my God, I just don't like people because I just can't handle that. And so that's kind of why Black Girl is set up the way it is. But it's, let's get folks out like me, because I needed that person to say, do you want to go to brunch? And
right,
sometimes I'm like, I want to talk about a book. So if somebody wants, so it's
yeah,
really, I mean, I guess I just do events for introverts, but it's just that idea that I don't want anyone to feel like I don't know who I am as I start aging because
yeah,
something's changed in my life. Like, that's
right,
just, that's hard. And that's, I don't want that for any woman or any
right,
person. So that's
right.
kind of, the soapbox on why we do what we do. But I think what you're saying is good, is just realize, you know, who you are and start that process,
Mm-hmm.
early, especially not to say, if you have the gift to know that your parents are aging,
Yeah.
so, or they're sick, so, your mom's been battling a disease for 8 years, you can start working on yourself,
That's what I've been going through since December. My mom has been sick. Um, looks like we're we're on a plateau right now. Knock on wood. But it's been tough, and so dealing with the grief process of an ill parent, and the what ifs and the stress of that all, and dealing with the physical, as you were asking about it, like it's been taking its toll on my body because my mind doesn't have time to process.
hmm
I have to get her to appointments. So if you would have asked me how you doing, oh I'm great, I'm fine. I just got to get her to appointments. I got to get it. But my
yeah,
body was
you're
like,
just
we are
laser focused on what you the to-do
not
list.
right. My body was like, yo, we're not okay. We are so not okay. Hair falling out, everything. We are so not okay.
Yeah, I had a friend that said that, she's like, my hair is just falling out, and she's like, 'cause I'm just so stressed,
Hmm.
and she couldn't verbalize what the stress was. Like, why are you stressed? Like, I think I asked her that, why are you stressed?
Hmm.
And she's got a lot going on, but
Yeah,
what's that stressor? Because I can't even help
right. So to get
without.
at the neurobiology of it all, the body will react a lot quicker sometimes than the mind can even comprehend. The brain is set up that way. Our amygdala can sometimes take it before our frontal cortex to even process it. And that's what was happening to me. And so I had to stop because I could feel it. My back was out, my hair is falling out. And okay, so my body's reacting, Robyn. You are not okay. You're telling everyone you're okay. You're telling yourself you're okay. I'm in my mind thinking I'm okay. You're not okay. And so I'm talking to God. I'm not okay. I think I'm okay, but I'm not okay. My body reacted way before my mind even could catch it.
So is that the trigger or the alarm, to say, like, my hair's falling out or something? Oh, my face is breaking out. Is that the
Yeah.
moment we should kind of do I call it a systems check? Like, okay, what's going on in my life right now? Is
Yeah.
that the kind of thing that triggers it? Because a lot of times you can be like, oh, it must be this job. My hair is falling out. My
Mhm.
boss is crazy. And it's not that.
Right. And it's and what we've been taught to believe is we're not dealing with something, you're ignoring it or whatever. But that was not necessarily the case. And I totally felt like I had everything under control, but my body was still reacting. And so when I learn, as I'm learning neurobiology, and I'm nowhere near an expert in this, but as I'm learning about the amygdala and how the amygdala responds to stress, and it can grab stuff way before we even can. This is the frontal cortex, is when a triggering event happens and our mind processes it, interprets it, and then responds. That's how stuff comes in. That's how we normally deal with stuff. I see a cat, I'm frightened because I hate cats, and now I react frightened. But when we have an amygdala response, it doesn't even hit here, flight or flight response happens. So that's what the amygdala, I'm pointing here because it's somewhere in the middle of the brain.
Okay.
That's
Is it so fight or flight? Is it true? And I don't know. Is it fight, flight, or freeze? Sometimes I've heard is freeze in that mix.
yeah. And then there's a fawn in there too,
I don't know what
where
that
you
is.
kind of like comply in a trauma response type thing.
Okay.
But yeah, so there's that. Yeah.
And I bring that up because I know that a lot of times people are familiar with fight or flight,
Mm-hmm.
but
Freeze is one.
if
Yeah.
you're not acknowledging freeze or you don't know it, you don't know that you're still in fight or flight.
Right.
You're just sitting there like, well, I'm not scared because I'm not, in
Right.
that space. And so I just wanted to double check that because I've heard it, and also let folks know that that's a thing.
That's a
We
thing.
can be frozen in a space, and
Mhm.
it's not just standing still like a cartoon frozen. Like you can
Right.
just be in the situation.
In the situation, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn.
On
Fawn is the other one where it's kind of like, why did you let it happen?
is that like
When we get,
ignoring the signals? Like the train just kept taking off, and like I knew I should have jumped off. Is that what that is?
yeah,
Huh.
and that's
Okay.
a trauma response. But that's all. We're getting a PTSD now.
Yeah. Sorry.
But but back to grief. Sometimes we respond to things and don't even realize, well, our body is responding. So yes, illness can happen, heart attacks can happen, and strokes can happen, and all that type of stuff can happen, and you don't even realize that something has attacked your body.
So tell me this, because we're looking at the Mother's Day and Father's Day coming up. If the parent is grieving of some
Mhm.
kind of loss, whatever that is, how does that impact the family or the kids? Like, does that impact the kids? So if the mom is grieving
Mhm.
another child's loss, a family member loss, you know, does that impact the children?
Definitely. Now, one thing about children, children are very resilient, but definitely children will feel your emotions. They're your children. Children feel you sad if you watch a sad movie. Children will feel you. They feel you. I watch my son. He knows when my asthma's flared up before I know my asthma's flared up. I think I'm very terrible at knowing something's wrong with myself. But anyway, he will sit there. He will say, Why are you breathing like that? You need your inhaler." That's just our children. They just know. But it's just the mechanism of the family relationship. It's a system. It operates that way. And will it have a long lasting negative effect on them? Depends on what all was done during that grieving time. I mean, if it was a um, tumultuous time, maybe. Will they remember it as that time when mom was really sad? Maybe. It all depends on what all happened. But children are very resilient too. I remember in grad school learning, my one professor said, "You really got to work to screw your kids up. You really got to work at it. Like, you got to work hard. So don't
It's good
worry
to know.
about it, like thinking you screwed them up or something."
I take relief with that. Like, wow, that's good to know. So, first of all, I just want to say thank you. Number one, thank you for circling us back to grief because we could have gone down a whole rabbit hole there. And
Yeah.
thank you for always joining us. And I don't want to take up too much of your time. And so, as we get ready to close, the question is, like, final thoughts or words for folks that are not anticipating this to be the happiest Mother's Day or Father's Day.
hmm So I always say develop a self care plan for grief, right? You want to make sure you have some coping skills in your bucket. So, like I said, one, make sure you're taking a break from your grief, allowing yourself time to grieve. Don't, you know, emotions are like waves. They come in, they go back out. Sometimes it's a tsunami, sometimes it's a little roll in wave. Don't be afraid of the waves because they will go back out. So allow them to come in and go back out. But if you need to take a break, get up, go to movies, get up, go for a walk, whatever, make yourself feel better. Distract from the pain, improve your mood. Those are your coping skills because the grief is going to come back. So it's okay to distract yourself because it ain't going nowhere. Improve your mood. Do those things to help yourself feel better. Reinforce your support system. Get some good supports around you, not annoying supports, because nothing worse than having you're already feeling bad and have somebody annoying around you.
Can
Get
we define good supports? Like, I think people think like I got my friends or my girls or this guy I'm dating, but they might not be a good
yeah,
support.
good supports are people. Well, I'm not going to be rigid about the supports because
Okay.
sometimes we discount some really good supports that we can look down on some people who are some good supports.
Okay.
There's always that one person that may not be a stand-up community person, but they will come and clean your house from top to bottom. So,
Right.
there's some people that could be supports that we may not always look up to, but they're good supports. But definitely a good listening ear. I think also a person who can just come and sit with you. We have lost that ability to just sit and not make a person talk about something. I remember one time a client said, she always was comforting the grief of other people. She needed people to just come sit with her, but they would always come and cry. He was such a good man, and so they weren't really helping her because she was comforting them, and she's the one that lost her husband. So supports that can come and help hold her up, help hold you up, is what you need.
I
Literal
think,
support.
yeah, and also that make you, I guess, that you feel better while they're there. Like, you can be
Yeah,
you can be in a room full of people
yeah,
and
and
just
want them to
feel
go.
more exhausted, or you just are, like you said, you're annoyed and because
Yeah,
they're not the right people.
they need to go. Put them all out, and don't feel any guilt about it. You all got to go. I'm tired now, and get your sleep. Yeah, if their energy and
Yeah.
and as a and I always keep stressing this introvert, and I'm gonna have to do a workshop or something on this one day. As an introvert, energy means everything. So you could be my good friend, but your energy is draining me. Or you can be my really good friend, and your presence don't mean anything. I could take a nap with you right here in my house, and I don't even know that you're here. It's all about your energy. And so you could be here all day long and it won't bother me. But then there's a person that can be there for an hour and they take all my energy away. They got to go. That
Okay.
person has to go. So support is very important. They got to feel good. So as you're going through your grief cycle, third thing, create a tradition for their memory.
Mm.
Um, because I've noticed a lot of people just box away memories sometimes. They box away memories and they just go visit grave sites. And it's like, that's just remembering their death. That's not remembering the life.
What might that
So
look like?
the
You have an
the
example of
a tradition.
yeah.
So like if you do Mother's Day, cook something that she would eat or she would fix. Like with my grandmother, I cook her corn. She used to make corn with the peppers in it and the onions so I cook her corn or I'll make the dressing her way. Because I've stopped cooking the big holiday meals like I usually do. But if I do cook something holiday meal, I make something, I'll get that corn because something about the smell of it through the house that just
Mhm.
makes me remember my grandma. So I'll do that tradition in her memory. It's her corn. That's what I do. Or like I snap the green beans. That's what I'm doing for my grandma. So those type of traditions. Be careful to not enshrine a person. That's just
Meaning what?
become. You don't want to deify people.
Gotcha.
It's just scary. Just scary. Just scary. You just don't want to enshrine them. and I've seen some shrines, and it's like, that's not, if something happens to the shrine in your home, you're going to have a whole nother meltdown.
Mm,
You want the memory of them to stay alive, not the shrine. Um, so create a memory, a tradition or a memory. So as Mother's Day is coming, and it may be hard, but if your mama's thing was banana pudding, then get the banana pudding out. Or if she liked daisies, then go get some daisies and have them on the table. Whatever it was, that's your tradition now for her memory. And then lastly, introduce new positive behaviors in their memory. So do something new for your mother. So that's you're moving forward, because now you're bringing a new behavior into her memory. So that you're moving forward with her. Like, this is for us, mom. We're gonna do something new.
nice. So for to end on a uplifting note, for anybody, like what's a good thing for moms to think about as a whole? So, we have moms are, they're moms. So you have single moms, married moms, moms that are grieving, moms that are expecting, soon to be moms. What are some just thoughts to do something good for yourself on Mother's Day? I mean, it's Mom's Day. So I don't expect to be doing the cooking for Mom's Day, but
I think just um, I don't know. That question's throwing me. What is something good to do? You
or
said.
what's a good tradition to start if you've got like littler kids or
Um, you know what? I don't know. I've never really. I'm gonna be honest with you. My kids never really have done much for me for Mother's Day. That has not been. I think I've my. I don't know.
so I'm laughing while you think because I had to tell my kids to stop buying me bubble bath sets. Like every
Right.
year they would get one of those big baskets that I
Hmm.
would never use. Like it was overly perfumey and just like
Hmm.
I don't know where they got it, but every year
Right.
they would come home with this
With those.
basket. And at one point in my bathroom closet, it was just like baskets upon baskets upon
All
baskets
that perfume stuff.
because every month that's what they got. And I finally like they're teenagers, like high schools. I'm like, please don't give me another Mother's Day
Right.
basket. And they're like, but you like them.
No, I don't.
That's why you don't use them because they're in the closet because you just really like them. And I'm like, oh, so like we had to start, and they're still shocked. Like we like even to this day, I think they're thinking
You
a
like
bath set, and I don't want that. But
my
you know,
daughter asked. She said, "What do you want for Mother's Day?" She asked me just like yesterday, and I said, "I want flowers." Because I'm not a big gifty person. I'm just not. So I think that would be the thing. I think get flowers. I don't. That's just me though. I
yeah, I
think
think it's just empower your kids in the right way to get something
yeah,
that you want. So like I didn't want my kids to try to make me a fancy dinner when they were little because that meant I'm making my own fancy dinner or they're
right,
making a mess for me to clean
right.
later
That you got to
because
clean
you're
up.
6, so it's those
Right,
kind of things. So I think it's really I think the thought is guide the family, do something fun.
right.
I mean, it is your day. If you need a
I got
babysitter that day, get a babysitter that day.
I got all kinds of odd little pottery things, so that's what I have. Because my kids go to Shaker school, so they have a pottery
Yeah,
kiln, and I got
yeah.
all kinds of weird shaped things all over my.
I've got one I'm
That's what.
looking dead at from like 5th grade. Last year I got a cactus. So
Okay.
I don't know why I got a cactus because I said I didn't want soap. So they decided I
Right.
need a cactus.
Exactly. Right.
But yeah, so I think that's the thing is, for moms all over, definitely enjoy the day. Take care of yourself. Maybe that's the day you do your self-care routine. Kids, if
Exactly.
you're listening, maybe get your mom a yoga gift certificate or a
Right.
spa day, not necessarily bubble bath.
And for the women who have been denied motherhood,
Yes.
take care of yourself too. 'Cause I know this is a hard time. That's
Yes.
another level of grief that we didn't get a chance to touch.
No, and I
Take
want to. So definitely.
Yeah, that grief of not being able to have a child, and no one knows that pain. A lot of them are carrying that secretly around. Some have shared about it, but I know a lot more who don't get to voice it. And we talk about Mother's Day every year, and they don't get, we don't realize how much it's like it's thrown in their face. And people ask them, why haven't you had kids? And we don't realize some of them have been trying, and a lot of them have miscarried. A lot of them have had to deal with losses. So there's that pain as well when we're talking about this acute grief and the complicated grief. There's a lot of pain in that. So do that self care to those women. Self care, definitely go to the salt caves. Go and pamper yourself. Go get a massage. You deserve it too. We all have the innate desire. We have this in us. Mothering is in us, and so this day is for you too.
Mm-hmm.
So go and take care of yourself, pamper yourself. Self care plan is for you as well.
Perfect. Awesome. My guest today was Robyn Hill, author, doctoral candidate, mental health therapist, and just so many other things, including agency administrator. I thank you again for being on the show. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And for all the moms, all the women, the one-day mothers, the grieving moms, the everyone, I just hope you guys have a great weekend and Mother's Day. We need to just call it like Women's Day. And
Yes.
I thank you for listening.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Black Girl in CLE, the podcast. Please check us out online at www.blackgirlincle.com and like and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at blackgirlincle. This podcast was recorded in Cleveland, Ohio, with post-production by the talented interns at Black Girl Media. Copyright 2019, all rights reserved and retained by Black Girl Media, LLC. Talk to you next time.